we always forget during the show to say, please click the button down below to subscribe.
Yeah.
Please click the bell down below to get notified if you're enjoying this thing, us ranting at each other, that kind of stuff. So I digress. Go ahead.
We are not ranting at each other. This isn't chaos. This isn't insanity. We're having an educated dialogue about business and marketplace news.
Educated is loosely, brother. Educated, that word is loose.
It's relative. Okay.
We are idiots versus idiots. All right.
Yeah. But anyways, I just thought it was a interesting play here. And I want to jump into this last story. This again is one of those rare times where the big man, my co-host,
gets it right.
No, he doesn't get it right. He got to pick a topic. And then I had to go do a bunch of work to figure out how to make the topic actually work. Because he sent me over to the Reddit thread. What is it? Something traders? I forget what it's called now that off the top of my head.
Wall Street Bets.
Wall Street Bets. Big man wants to do a bunch of Reddit content. And my feeling about doing Reddit content is lassoing one of my feet and attaching the other end to a dually truck and going down a road full of broken glass.
Okay, all right, let's backtrack a little bit. It's not necessarily that I want to do a lot of Reddit content. It's just the fact that there are a lot of relevant
can we pivot
Reddit...
our entire show?
I
we
did
pivot
not.
The entire show
he
to
is
Reddit
such a
content?
liar. Do not take anything Danny says as 100% truth. It's always partially truth, but you never know which part it is. The point is...
I am like the corporate press. I am truthful. I mean, factual, but not truthful.
Okay, whatever that means. All right, it's alternate truths. That's
no.
The point is, yes, Wall Street Bets, and the story that Danny wants to get to, and look, I love this because I've been keeping track of this for a while. It's Wall Street Bets. If you don't know what it is, and you're a Redditor, go and check this out. If you're not on Reddit, then get with 2021 and just really you can learn.
First of all, the first way to get with 2021 is to say 2021. The second way to get with the times is don't do anything these people say.
Oh, well, and this is the point. Okay, so what you have is, again, not a new idea. It's not a 2021 idea. It's been around forever, ever since stock,
a million years.
Weeks, you know what I mean? They used to do
stock
releases, newsletters, and everything else. The idea is that if you get enough people behind any given stock, you can push it up and that kind of stuff. In this case, Wall Street Bets, we're talking about the current one is stock ticker G as in good, M as in Mary, E as in Edward, GME, also known as GameStop, right? GameStop, for the last several weeks, a month and a half, has been being pushed on Wall Street Bets. And they're getting everybody. It really reminds me, this GME play has really reminded me of the Bitcoin play back in the 2010, 11, 12, the first time it got to 18, 19,000, per Bitcoin. And everybody and their dog was, well, I'm mortgaging my house and putting it in Bitcoin, or, idiots and idiots in it. This has kind of gotten to that point, and here's why. We're talking about GameStop at its height, at its peak of, I think the PS3 was out at the time, the mid-2000s, 2005, 6, 7, when everybody was playing video games, everybody was going to GameStop. GameStop was, you know what I mean? Their sales were through the roof. They were the name when it came to gaming, going and buying games, selling games, whatever.
Right.
At their height, we're still only talking $50 or $60 a share back then. And then as downloading gamings became more and more popular through the 2010 and now through 2020, downloading games became more popular. Why do I need a CD? Why I'm not selling the game? I'm deleting them, this kind of stuff. They've really fallen on hard times the last 5 years, right? And all of a sudden, middle of last year, again, you add on Dos Equis and foot traffic and stuff like that, stock goes all the way down $4 or $5 a share.
Oh, wow.
Out of nowhere. And they're looking at closing. They're looking at, you know what I mean? Collapsing as a company.
GameStop actually has a commercial business, which most people don't know about, where it's auctioning off lots of electronics and other stuff. So they have a very interesting business model because if most people see a GameStop, they go, how the frick is this thing standing, right? Hollywood Video, they used to be attached to Hollywood Video rental stores. Those are all gone. Most people are buying their consoles. It's not hard to find. I mean, PS5s and stuff are hard, but I'm saying it's not like you need the game exclusive store doesn't. And GameStop, if it pivoted to more like board games and that kind of thing, I think they, in more of a comic book kind of vibe,
Well,
they
that's
might
been an
have a
argument, but they've lived and died by gaming in the resale market. You
right
bring your PS2
console.
to me, I give you $5, I turn around and sell it for 50, right? Like they had
Yeah,
the audience that they were resellers. That's really where they've
yeah,
made big bucks,
totally.
is
Yeah,
getting people to sell back their games that they spent $50 or $60 on for
for five
dollars, and
dollars.
then send, you know what I mean, and then turn around and sell it for 25. So they've been able to push up their market for a while. But the point is their market has not, since middle of last summer, their fundamentals of the business, their profit margin, didn't all of a sudden go up. What happened? Reddit's Wall Street Bets came in and said, hey, we've got enough people that if we go in here and bet on this, it's going to go up. Well, why is it going to go up? Well, nobody explains
Because
why
we're betting
anything's
on
going to
it.
happen.
Yeah.
We just know that if we all get in on it, we can push past everybody. And here is the occasion that they did. Now, let me put this in perspective, y'all. I just told you, mid to last summer, early fall, $4 or $5 a share. Okay? As of today, we've gone from $4 or $5 a share to the high today, folks, was $159.18.
That's wonderful.
150. Now this is the
Fantastic.
really scary part. If you know anything about stocks, I'm not going to go into, in detail into stock stuff here, guys. I can do a whole nother show about that. But the point is,
We're not giving advice, by the way.
We are not giving advice.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
It closed yesterday at $65 a share. Today's high was $159 a share, and it closed today at $76 a share. Now, the whole
It chopped in half.
It chopped in half. So the whole point of this, folks, is at one point today, look, our stock markets, at least our major, the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, or whatever, have these what they call them yield signs in stock markets, where basically when something's going too crazy up or down, it will pause that particular stock symbol.
It halts
to
trading.
Go, okay, this is crazy and insane and
Something's
doesn't
wrong.
help anybody. Something's wrong. At one point, they had to do that today because there was so much money being shoved in at one time that it set off a red flag and it paused.
Yeah,
okay?
so like this is why the big man just sends me a link and says, "Yeah, let's do this story." Reddit, Wall Street Bets subreddit. What? How is that a story? Well, here's how it's a story. Let me tell you how it's a story. Freaking, they took a stock that was $5 and shoved it up to. I mean, I got to do that fist from.
Well, yeah, they fisted. They.
No, I'm saying I'm doing the Leonardo DiCaprio fist from
Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, where he goes, you could see returns upwards of 60%. That one clip where he goes into the shady shop, the pink sheet peddler. That is, to me, still one of the greatest clips of all time. But I'm just saying, listen, when I was a younger man and was trying to find more lucrative ways of building wealth in a rapid way, or otherwise known as get rich quick, I signed up for a million different
newsletters and email things and whatever.
Emails and.
Here's the problem. When we talk about what's going on in the world today and poor people and rich people and stuff like that, in this one company on the New York Stock Exchange today, okay? Now, think about this. We're talking about, right, poor people and rich people in today's world of 2021, right? Just in this, the amount of dollars, this is the dollar volume on just this one stock today.
Yes.
$16 billion transferred hands today.
That's got to be bigger than the GDP of like Tunisia or something.
$16 billion changed hands today just in this stock. Now, obviously, again, you said we're not giving any kind of advice. We're not saying whether this will go up and down or anything like that. We're just talking about what it is. We're talking about, though, if you, and I saw several on, this is again, quoting Reddit Wall Street Bets right on here. There was a big time post that actually was picked up by some major news outlet in the same day today, because obviously this was all over the internet. It was all over news today and stuff like that because of the big shifts and stuff like that. One particular Redditor was quoted to say, "I'm not selling this until it's $1,000 plus per share." Now, That person's claiming a pretty big claim, right? But when you look at it as a novice investor that may be a normal Redditor, right?
Right.
And they go, well, it's $150 a share today, right? 149. This random guy over here says it's going to be 1,000 plus. Who ends up buying at 100 because somebody had to buy it at $149 a share for it to get there today.
Right.
And now it's worth 75. Your average everyday investor doesn't have the savvy to understand how things move, and they become what they call bag holders.
Yeah.
They're owning stock that they're just not worth anything.
So the Dos Equis, there's so many. There's a whole meme world back here of the TikTok Robinhood traders making.
Same thing.
Listen, some of the most, Warren Buffett and others will say, the minute your UPS guy or postal service guy is giving you stock tips, liquidate everything you got in the market. Okay.
Right.
And I have a friend who was just like, yeah, my 21-year-old son just texted me to buy a certain stock on Robinhood. He's like, but listen, there are people who will take advantage of this. And, listen, part of it has to, there's a part of it that is the simplicity of trading stock today with apps like Robinhood and so on have created an environment.
Vegas. It's like Las Vegas for poor people. Yes. It really is. It's like Las Vegas.
Well, Las Vegas is already for poor people.
If you bought it for, yes, but if you bought it for 75 and today and you sold it for 150, you doubled whatever money you put in it. That's if you did those things. And like you said, God bless you. The people that I worry about, just like Vegas, are the people that don't have the indisposable income, that are betting money that they don't have, that bought
disposable
income, that bought today at 150 and now they're looking at $75 a share. And God forbid, based on the actual fundamentals of this company, it should still be at $5, $6, $7 a share.
And I hear what you're saying, right? And I was one of those people, and I subscribed to all the newsletters, and I took my hard-earned $500 from my job at Walmart, which I hated and worked at like 3 months or something. And I proceeded to lose my $500, and I learned, okay, I don't understand what this is. It's a powerful tool. You can make money, but if I don't understand what it is, not going to do it, right? So it's fine. And I hear, like, you're one of these not broken, but bleeding heart, like, people, we need to protect the interest of the downtrodden. No, the downtrodden need to take a kick to the teeth from some steel-toed boots to learn what it's like, so they stop behaving like morons.
Okay, I'm a little in the middle there. I'm more of a let's educate people on how to do it properly, and then they won't. Because
there's only one way to educate people, and that's a kick to the teeth.
That's not true. That is not the truth. Coming from a man that his parents have never laid a hand on him in his life, so
that is not true.
He wouldn't know.
That is a lie.
His parents would never.
My parents are Indian. That's all they.
Never laid a hand on him. He Indian and he's a son. So no, they never laid a hand on him. He's been treated like a prince his entire life. He doesn't know anything. Here's the point though, is
that's closer to accurate than inaccurate.
I do have a problem with people getting taken advantage of. Now, and here's the other part of that. Stock market is the way to get. Hey, investing is the way to go. If you have not seen the stats from 2020, if you were invested in companies, the right companies in 2020, you got richer while everybody else didn't.
Right.
Okay. So I am all about it. I'm an advocate, right, of investing.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you've got to do it intelligently, and following a anonymous board on Reddit can make you money in the short term if you know what you're doing, and can leave you owing everything.
I think the key phrase you just said there as I interrupted you was, if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, you probably don't need a subreddit.
No. But it's fun to watch. It's like watching people gamble at craps in Vegas.
Yes, and I love watching people gamble more than I like gambling. Although let me add this again. This is for entertainment purposes only. The reason we do this podcast is because I simply see things differently than the status quo. I think that this whole thing the entire thing is a casino.
Right.
And that's my opinion, right? But I just think that it's fascinating that we're at a point where I think part of it too is, and listen, one of our favorite characters to discuss on this program is Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports.
Mm-hmm.
This guy started a show. His entire business was essentially like, it was born on the back of the sports betting, but there are no sports games during the Dos Equis Pandy.
Right.
So what do? This guy took, I think it was something like the total volume was something like $6 billion. And he played the stock market. And the content of him playing the stock market is wild.
Well, because it replaced exactly what you were getting, right? Again, someone that's nimble,
gambling, baby,
know their audience, yes, right? Know what they want, know that what they're getting out of you, and how to continue to give it to them, right? Like that's all. Right. Any business, any customer base, or whatever. People that watch Joe Rogan, people that shop at Walmart or Amazon or whatever. What do these businesses all have in common? They know who their audience is. Joe Rogan is going to be Joe Rogan because he's figured out that if he was just himself, and he said this over and over again, if he's just himself, he knows that's going to attract a certain person, and that person's going to be okay with who he is. In this case, Wall Street Bets is attracting a certain kind of person. Now, and there are people making money off of that particular kind of person, and they're going to keep feeding that as long as they can, right?
And listen, if you're on Wall Street Bets, if you're trying to get rich, the get rich quick schemes are only going to get more intense. But we're going to try to have our good friend Matthew Cox back on to talk about them in a couple months. But because of, and listen, you saw the height of these in 2007, 2008. Mm-hmm. Get rich and a bajillion different things right before the market took a correction. And that, to me, is always a signal of correction is coming.
Same thing in the mid-90s. You were just too young to remember. Yes. It happened again in the mid-90s with the tech bubble. Same thing. Everybody get rich. All you got to do is invest. All you got
buy tech
again,
stocks.
Correction, right? And that kind of, so you have to educate yourself, but you don't have to. The fact is look, the worst thing that can happen to a gambler is to win big the first time. Right? The worst thing that happens to somebody that goes on today to Reddit and gets into Wall Street Bets and then bets their $500 that they've worked on their job for forever, and then that $500 becomes $5,000, and them not knowing why it just did. That's the worst thing that could ever happen to them because they think it's going to happen every time now that $5,000 is going to become $50,000.
Exactly, and Davey Day Trader Global, which is Dave Portnoy, quoted as saying stocks only go up, baby, which
no they don't.
And let me add this too, like there is the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. I was watching some content from David Dobrik, and he's like, a couple years ago he invested $1 million into Tesla stock, and a week or two later, 3 weeks later, he got scared. $1 million for David Dobrik. He's like, this was a lot of money for him. But he really believed in Tesla, and I think he had just bought one. And he sold, and he made $7,000, and he was sweating it, right? So that's another thing. If you're an investor out there, this is for entertainment purposes only. We are not offering any advice. If you're sweating it that much, it's not for you, bro. This ain't for you.
No, well,
I'm invested,
and you haven't educated yourself enough, right? You haven't educated yourself enough to be
on the investment comfortable.
Right, exactly.
So, Big Man and I have a disagreement about a particular sector. We're not going to talk about it here, but a particular sector where I've made for me, what is a significant bet. He thinks it's a sham. I don't care because I am well educated on my position. And I know why I made the bet.
And you've invested a certain amount that you are comfortable with.
I can lose it.
That if you lose it, you're comfortable with that loss.
Yep.
That's the difference, right? You and I can't disagree because you've invested that you're not
and
willing
listen,
to lose.
I took a 30%. I shaved 30% of my portfolio last week. And a friend was asking me how it's doing. And I was just like, I took a 30% haircut. And he's like, well, you're going to sell? I was like, nope, it's coming back. And guess what happened? Done came back. Okay.
Well, but again, you had that comfort because
Yes.
you knew you are in a situation where if you lose it all, you're comfortable with that. Not that that's what you want, but
No, of
you're
course not.
comfortable with that, which is why
Yeah.
it's easy to ride. That and
Yeah.
again, that's the gambling thing, right?
Yeah.
If you were down 30% and that was your entire life savings and you were betting it all, that
That's a problem.
30% really makes you think, "Oh, holy crap." Right?
Yeah.
You ride that emotional roller coaster, as we say in the
Yes.
gambling world, right? If you're riding the emotional roller coaster, you're probably not making great decisions
Right.
when it comes to
But-
finance, right?
But getting back to David Dobrik, he said if I had just held on to that stock that he had purchased a couple years ago, $1 million worth, today it's valued at $13 million. And
Absolutely.
He's kicking himself. He bought a $9 million house. He could have had a free house.
Look, I say the same thing. I compare the stock market a lot like you to gambling, and I do it over and over because if you get into the stock market, if you get into investing in general, what stock market, real estate, whatever, you will eventually have a story just like every gambler has a gambling story. Where if they would have done this, it would have ended up like that. If they would have bet this, it would have ended up that. Every gambler has a story. I have several of them or whatever. Stocks, investing becomes the very same. If you invest in long enough, you have a story like that where if I'd have just held on to it through the down period, or if I'd have just not let this scare me or whatever, if I'd have just hung on, or if I would have sold at this instead of waiting and then I rode it all the way down. There's just as many of the opposite stories where I held on to it because I thought you know what I mean? I was just going to ride it out and then it went all the way down to zero or close to it.
I have a friend who was at Lehman Brothers when it was crashing, and she said, well, I had these stock options and my husband was to get out of it. And she's like, well, no, I'm going to double down. Because it's only like the stock just cut in half. Lehman Brothers has been around for 1 million years. Lehman Brothers isn't going anywhere except right into the fire of dumpster, baby. I just, we got to wrap up here, but I really do think it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
I think we're headed for and listen, when it comes to a lot of things that I think are dumb, the reason I think they are dumb, whether it's anything in the political realm, voting, whatever, it's not because the thing itself is dumb. It's because the attitude or understanding or belief about that thing that people go into it with, like, you have to go into some of this as like, this is writing a letter to Santa Claus. It's meaningless. Mm-hmm. And if you do it with that attitude of like, this is meaningless behavior, it's fine. You go into stock investing or, crypto or whatever. This is for entertainment only. Any of those sectors, if you get into investing into those sectors, knowing that it's a casino, if you're walking into it the same way, you and your buddies going down the escalator at the hotel in Vegas, and you're like, here's $3,000 that I got on my bonus going down the drain, baby. Right?
All of them, Black 69, right there. Yeah.
There you go. 69 is funny because the stock rose 69% on Friday before they halted trading. Lucky number 69. Then it's great. You should do it. That is how, if you approach it like, if you approach it like, I'm investing like it's a 401k, you're stupid. You're an idiot. You're going to lose all your money. And Big Man will have a soothing, warm, it's going to be all right, Bubba. Don't worry about it. It's only money. And I'm going to be like, get on the ground. I'm going to curb stomp your face because you deserve it. Because you deserve it for being it.
Okay, you telling people that don't know any better that they deserve to be stomped in the face is exactly where we should end it.
Metaphorically.
You didn't say that first. I'm just keeping it as it is.
I'm saying metaphorically.
I'm laying it right out there as the way you said it.
Yes.
Okay?
I meant metaphorically.
While you're giving us the Heil Hitler right now. All right.
That is don't even say that.
All I heard was stomp you in the face and Heil Hitler. That's what I saw.
Okay.
That's where we should end it today. Again, we started with me calling you some kind of ist. We're leaving on it you as an ist. Right. I think that's where we are, Danny.
Yeah. And of course, this is Danny. I'm signing off for Idiots versus Idiots, reminding you it's not a lie if you believe it.
God, you're an idiot.
I know. So are you.
So bad. We'll see you next time, folks.